What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Matt Corman podcast. Thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate it. It's been a little bit. I went out on tour. For those who didn't know, toured around the country, went to the East Coast, the West Coast. The West Coast just recently, me and Ollie Joseph just co-headlined a tour. We hit, where'd we go? Phoenix, Arizona, San Diego, Los Angeles, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington. Let's see if I can do it all. Boise, Idaho, Salt Lake City, Denver, Colorado, Fort Worth, Texas, and then San Antonio, Texas. So we played, I think it was 11 shows exactly. Such a good time. Thank you to all the listeners and the fans that came out to the show. That was fucking incredible. It was always a dream of mine to do a tour like that. You know, have my own headline type of vibe. And so it was dope, man. It was a dream come true for me. So this podcast episode, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the tour, and then I'm going to talk to you about basically like what it's like to be on the road and the state of the music industry right now and touring and how it's pretty expensive and why sometimes it seems like it's not really a viable option anymore. So sit back, relax. It's going to be a great episode and I'm excited about it. So let's dive right in. Solo pod today. Excited to be back here, excited to be back in my routine. I feel like a lot of times it gets a little tough being on tour because you get out of your routine a lot. So that's something that I'm just now getting used to. Like my routine every day, I wake up, pray, journal, eat my breakfast, and then go to the gym, come home, and I get to work throughout the entire day. So, you know, I'm like up at like 9 o'clock now, 9 a.m.-ish, kind of out of bed, 10 a.m. sometimes. But able to kind of creep out and work out and then get all my work done in the studio that I need to get done for the day. And at the end of the day, when the sun goes down or right around that time, I like to go for a run on the beach. And that's like my life every single day. That's my life. So when you're going on tour, it kind of throws everything for a loop because fucking pulling up to a city, waking, like doing the show, getting out, getting to the hotel at like 3 a.m, 2 a.m. Sometimes you have a show and the next city is like, I don't know, call it like 8 to 10 hours away. And so you have a show and then you like to drive like 2 hours after the show. So if we get out of the building around midnight, which a lot of times we do, then you try to drive at least like a couple hours out. So I don't know, it gets a little tough sometimes to have correct sleep patterns. So anyways, kind of getting used to being back to a normal life. If I'm being honest with you, it kind of fucks me up mentally a little bit. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but being on tour is tough. It's like you have all this dopamine rush. I'm performing on stage every night, meeting a bunch of different fans and listeners, and you're kind of getting like your ego stroked a lot. And then also you're dealing with the ups and downs. Like, of course, things go wrong. Like, let's say the merch didn't arrive in time or just certain things with the venues aren't panning out correctly. Just whenever you're doing things like traveling around and doing a lot of business and ventures, you're more susceptible to things going wrong. You know, the more you drive your car, the more inclined you are to have an accident versus if you're just kind of staying at home into like a safe area. So that's kind of how it works with tour and life and business in general. Traveling around the country in a car, first off, you're more susceptible to having problems and issues from traveling, and then alongside that, you're doing business with, we call it 20 different music venues. It gets a little bit tough because you could have a show one night and things could go correctly, but then you have to make it perfect the next 19 nights. So a lot of times you run into problems on the business end. You're just more susceptible. So there was just a lot going on, and I'm excited to be back home here in Miami. And good news is I'm going to be dropping podcast episodes every single week. The podcast has been doing really good on the audio, and so now I'm starting to drop YouTube videos. I think we did like a couple 100,000 downloads. I didn't realize how good this podcast was doing on like Apple Podcasts and Spotify podcasts. So thank you to people that are tuning in. That's incredible. And this is something that I always liked to do, but I just haven't had time recently, so I haven't put any effort towards it. But now I'm putting effort towards it for sure. So yeah, just going over the tour. It was a great time. Shout out to Phoenix, Arizona. You guys pulled the fuck up. That was a lit show to start it off. I played there with Fora before a couple times, and so it was good to see everybody kind of from his audience come out and support. And Ollie killed it too. He had some great people out there. And then after that, we went to San Diego, which is always cool to go to San Diego. It's just one of my favorite cities in the country. And then LA after that, our LA show actually got canceled. So if you were tuning in for our LA show, it's going to be rescheduled because there were riots going on with ICE and the protests going on over there. So basically, I'm going to have an update for you guys soon if you're out on the West Coast in Los Angeles on when that show is going to be. And then, yeah, all the shows were great, though. We didn't have one show that was horrible. You know, even in Boise, Idaho, where we figured that nobody was going to come. It's like, I've never been to Idaho before. I don't know who the fuck lives in Idaho. But we went and played Boise, Idaho, and it was fucking dope. So shout out to Boise, Idaho showing up. Seattle is always a good time. Thank you to everybody in the Pacific Northwest. Portland, Oregon. We had some people pop out there. And the best shows for me were probably Utah. I have some people out there in Utah. Shout out Frankie and his cousin came out. Those boys are great people over there. Pete the Treat, he popped out. And then shout out my Texas gang. Fucking Fort Worth, Texas pulled up for Matt Corman. It was dope. I had a couple people out there that were rocking with me, and then San Antonio as well. So shout out everybody that came out to the tour. I appreciate you. That's dope. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of everything with the tour, and something I want to touch on today is the music industry as a whole right now. So I've been blessed to build up this music platform, this project of Matt Corman, the musician, for over the last almost 9 years at this point now. And look, I'm blessed. I'm so thankful. Don't get me wrong. Very grateful for my situation. I have over 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. I have over 1 million monthly listeners on YouTube Music. Just the YouTube Music platform, I think 1.7 million monthly listeners. And Spotify right now, I think I have 1.2 million or 1.1 million monthly listeners. Incredible. I'm so thankful for it. But it's just interesting because back in the day, if you have those types of numbers and listeners, if I were to go on tour like in 2014, 2013, 2010, I would have been selling out venues like 500 caps, maybe even 1,000 cap venues with the amount of listeners that I get on the actual songs. But times have changed now. Touring isn't quite like it used to be for a multitude of reasons. One, COVID. A lot of artists took a hit after COVID where it was harder to sell tickets. I mean, you listening to this right now, you're probably aware, like maybe you sit at home a little bit more. Maybe you don't find the need to go out as much, and it's harder to get people to get out of their house just to come to a concert, to turn people into concert goers. If you look at the data and statistics behind people going to concerts, that versus that went to in the past, is significantly lower. So kind of fighting an uphill battle with that, just getting people out of the house to come to a show. And also alongside that, with the birthplace of streaming and the internet, nowadays you can just watch people's concerts. You can watch artists and their concerts on YouTube. I know a lot of people would talk to me, they're like, hey, yeah, like I'd come to the show, but I'll just wait for the videos to be posted on Instagram and on YouTube. And back in the day, somebody came to town, an artist, a performer came to town, and it was like, you know, Elvis Presley, one night only. And it was the most important thing ever. You couldn't miss it. It was one night only. And now there's this supply and demand issue with touring artists where Matt Corman comes to town and you may listen to me every day, but you don't feel the need to go to my show as much because you don't have to. You know that you're going to see the content from the show online. And alongside with that being an oversaturation of content online, and it's like, hey, I don't feel the need to go to the concert in person. There's other things as well too. Like, it's expensive. It's a lot of money for people to come out and come to these shows, especially in this economy, you know? So we ran into a lot of issues with that on the road, where it was just eye-opening seeing how much the general population in society is affected by ticket prices and the economy. And I'm saying all that to say, because coming from the person who is making a living off of selling concert tickets, it's just an important thing to note, and I'm able to witness it. It's like, there was tons of people that weren't able to come to the show because a $30 ticket is too expensive for them right now. And it's like, damn, that sucks. And at the same time, it's also expensive for me to put on the show. So I'll just be transparent here. Me and Ollie just went out on the road. I don't even know. Like, I'm assuming we made a little bit of money. We need to go through the final numbers, but like not a lot of money at all. I probably lost money because I'm I don't know about his situation. I want to speak for him, but I'm always putting my card down for shit with the gang. I'm always like making sure everybody's good, and I have a team with me, and I know he does the same. So, but the point of me saying that is like, as the artist that's going out, renting a van, driving across the country, dealing with bullshit like Avis, for example. I rented a van from Avis and they charged me an extra $1,200. Not sure why. I'm trying to figure that out, but it's just like taxes and fees came out of nowhere, and they made a mistake. Again, for those who know, I used to work at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, so I know where they made the mistake, but it's the fact of the matter is we may make like, I don't even know. We made less than $1,000 at some shows for sure. And you got to rent a van, pay for hotels every single night, pay the team to be there, and then hope you can get enough people in the door so that you can cover that expense. And then on top of that, the venue needs to make money. So people don't, like, that's the thing that gets lost, where like the venue, let me pull this up. The venue is paying for us to be there, the artists. A lot of times you can do something where like the venue will pay Matt and Ollie a flat fee to show up and perform, and then the venue then retains all the ticket money. Or you can do something that's a door split, where we'll show up to the venue and then we'll split like, hey, we'll get 70% of the money of the ticket sales after the venue covers their expenses, aka the bar staff or whatever it is. So it gets a little tough, because if you're on the road, and we did a couple shows of like 100 people, we did 150 people in Denver. That's amazing, but it was expensive to be there. And like we drove all the way to Los Angeles. Think about the days of the driving, the hotels, and then the show was postponed, and then we don't have a date for that show yet. So we lost a bunch of money on that show. And even merch too, it's like people can't afford merch as much. And when I'm home in Miami, it's like I'm able to conduct my business with limited expenses because I'm not out on the road traveling. I'm not having all these different people that I'm responsible for, on the team. And so it makes you think a little bit of prioritizing your, like, the music business at this point in time. Is like, is touring even worth it? And it's only worth it for me right now, not from a financial standpoint at all. It's only worth it to go out and meet fans and listeners. What's important to me is being able to dap up a guy who's been listening to my music forever, or a girl that, like, she's requesting every single song like that. Like, I had Ashley in Portland, Oregon, that knew every song. Like San Antonio, Texas, this girl Angel, she knew every single song, and that's cool to me. That's my win. That's more than money back to me. That's worth more than that. Just having that connection with the listener, and somebody who gives a fuck about the music, who wakes up every day and goes to their job and throws Matt Corman on. That's what makes you happy. I want to go meet you. That's important to me. But it's an interesting position to be in, where back in the day, artists used to make money doing like touring. Like, it's a hard job. Like, we're driving, we're taking time away from our family and our home life. We're taking time away from our health. You get unhealthy on tour because the only food that's available is fast food many times. And there's tons that is happening. And it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes you got to think like, is it worth it or not? And it's even tough for the fan too. The fan has to buy a ticket, put on the outfit, be free that night, come out, try to convince your friend. Your friend doesn't want to come there, buy merch, and then it's like $100 or something just to have a night. You buy some drinks at the venue, and I don't know. We're just entering this phase where it's just an interesting time to be an artist and to be a listener of the artist that likes to go to concerts, because it's tough. And then when you get from my state right now, like, look, we're playing like 100 to 200 capacity venues right now. I'm selling anywhere from like 80, maybe 50, sometimes depends on the day, to 100, 150 people every night. And once you graduate from this level that I'm at, then you run into like the Live Nation venues of the world. One second. And for people that don't know about Live Nation and how they operate and conduct their business, it's pretty interesting because they have a monopoly. What I mean by that is Live Nation is a music entertainment company. They're an entertainment company, and from my understanding, they own the majority of these venues, the mid-level to high-level to large level concert venues. And where I'm at, I perform at a lot of smaller venues. And then once I graduate, as I get bigger, like the next tour I go out, there will be more people than the last time because that's how it's worked. It's been growing in that direction. You know, before you have like 30 to 20, 30 people come out, and then it's 50. And then like you get to this point where I'm at now with Ollie, where we're doing better and better each time. And then this next level, though, I'll probably have to do a deal with Live Nation and a booking agent in order to get into the door. Now, what happens there is, you know, you can watch the clip from John Bellion and him talking about that. Like a lot of these artists end up not making money even at that level. You got guys like John talking about how he's like Live Nation's making $3 million a night off of him. And he was advanced $1 million. And the only way for him to pay back his $1 million advancement is through ticket sales only, even though they're making $1 million on the hot dogs and the beers and everything like that. And I don't know, it just makes you think, as I'm graduating and getting older in this industry and growing through it, it's like, fuck. Like, even if you get to that higher level, the system still is fucked up for artists and it's still hard. That's such a big feat, like to get 1,000 people in a venue. To get 1,000 people to come to a show is insane to me. It's like, it's crazy to me because those 1,000 people need to be free that night. They need to care enough that they would even buy a ticket and go see you in person. They need to love the music that much. And if there's 1,000 people coming to you that night in that city, that means there's probably 10,000 people that wanted to come, and then only 1,000 people could actually make it. So I don't know. It's a little bit, that tour was great. I'll say that. Amazing. Trust me, I'm very, very happy, but it's a little disheartening seeing where the business around this industry is going. And people always talk about how the music industry is tough industry, cutthroat industry. And again, I've been lucky to get to the point where I'm at with it. Like, look, financially, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying that in any other world where you're driving, for example, myself, I drive around 10 million people every month to my music. In any other industry, for the most part, I'd be making way more money. Like, way more fucking money. Imagine having a SaaS company and you have a software that you're driving 10 million people in total to your product every month. Just for sake of conversation here, let's take 10 million. Here we go. 10. Boom. I'm choosing a calculator here. Even call it super low. Let's go super low. Let's say 2% purchase the product. That's 200,000 people. Is that right? Let me just double check that I'm doing that right, because I think that is right though. 10 million people every single month times 0.02. Yeah, 200,000 people. And let's say the product profit on the product for whatever you put in is around $10. You'd make $2 million a month. Times it by 12. I mean, you get the picture, right? You're making a lot of fucking money. In music, we get paid, I think it's 0.003 per stream on Spotify. I think YouTube Music's a little bit more than that. And thank God, I'm so thankful for listeners, because I'm fine. It's just in any other industry, rich as fuck. And you hear artists complain about it all the time. And then it's like live concerts and selling tickets. Well, I just told you about that. Even when you graduate to the pros in the shit, motherfuckers are taking the majority of the money and making it hard to you can't even book a show in these Live Nation venues without taking an advance from them, and then they own it. And then they own you. They own your touring rights. And even at my level right now, it's so expensive to do it. So I don't know. It's just interesting. I'm really happy with my career, and I'm so blessed to get here. And it's been almost 9 years I've been putting out music on Spotify. I think the other day I looked and I put my first song out on Spotify in November 2016. So let's think. Let's see what it says right here, because I'm actually curious. All right. Let me see. I'm using ChatGPT here. Song on Spotify, November 2016. How long have I been releasing music for? Let's see what it says here. I'll probably be able to do it quick for me. All right, so I've been putting out music on Spotify and YouTube for over 8 years and 7 months now. Crazy. And I'm so thankful I've gotten to this point, and I think that we're going to keep on growing and growing and growing it. But it's just an interesting business. I'll tell you that much. I worked in software sales before in the restaurant space. I worked for a company called Toast Inc. You guys have probably seen it before. It's like point of sales. And I've worked in the rental car game. I've worked in staffing. So I've been able, in staffing, I was able to see what other industries look like all throughout. And the music industry is fucking weird. And I'm not even talking about a record deal too. Like, I'm independent, thank God. Like, talking about record deals is fucking crazy. Record deals are insane. Record deal 101. Hey, here's $100, Matt. Cool, thank you. You advanced me that. Hey, we're going to collect all of your earnings until we make $100 back. Cool, that makes sense. That's a loan. You advanced me the money on the receivables that are going to come in for the business you're going to do under my name. Hey, Matt, we're also going to spend $1,000 on creating the product for you. Okay, that makes sense. And anything you charge and anything your living expenses X, Y, and Z has to come out of that advance that we gave you. So you're not going to receive any extra money. So make sure you make that $100 last and stretch. Plus the $1,000 that we spent on the product, you also owe us that too. So you actually owe us $1,100. And then it gets to this point where these artists, they don't make any money because they have no income and their project isn't coming out. And then the record label owns the project and tells them when the project can get released. And then when they finally do release the project, let's say it does really well, they make $100 back, they make $1,100 back, give it to the record label, and then they go, hey, it's time for my paychecks. And then the record label goes, no, we own 90% and you own 10%. So now you're going to receive 10% of the money. But hey, we forgot you actually owe us more now because we spent more money on marketing. We spent more money on getting you on this tour, X, Y, and Z. So it just fucking never ends. And then they own the rights to your name. And then you can't fucking perform without using, like, with using your own name. They own the songs. And then when it comes to selling the catalog and the actual IP of the music, they own it too. It's just fucking crazy. Anyways, this podcast kind of turned into like a little bit of a vent sesh. But anyways, regardless, I just wanted a place to kind of get my thoughts out. But anyways, this was kind of an update pod. The tour was great. Obviously, you know, all things considered, it was a great time and it was a huge success. Anytime I can go out there and go meet fans and listeners and able to make it make sense in the business, super happy about it. You know, that's great. And I'm excited for the next one. I do have a tour announcement that I'm working on right now for the fall, so I'm excited about that. Going to be doing some tour support, so I'm really excited about that. If you're listening to this and you made it fit this far, thank you. I know this episode is really short, and that's only because I am this is like an update, and so I'm gonna start having more guests on. I'm getting back into the podcast game heavy. Once I saw the numbers that people gave a fuck about listening, I'm locked the fuck in. So yeah, it's exciting. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the update. I appreciate you guys. State of the music industry, everything's okay. Thank you for listening. It's just that I think that some things need to be worked out so that we can tour a little easier and make things a little better for both sides, the consumer, the customer, and the artist, and the venues too. The venues are getting clapped too. Something's got to change because it's just too expensive all around, and it's fucked up. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. If you need me, my name is Matt Corman. You can find me anywhere, and feel free to reach out, text me. My phone number's in the bio. I love y'all. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. Peace.